/cooking. Horrifying old family recipes. Let's swap. I'm lucky enough to have inherited multiple binders of old recipes from grandmothers, great-grandmothers, aunts, and my mom who is suddenly vegan. Some of these are handwritten treasures that I will cherish for years to come. And some of them are horrifying. We're talking Greek soup, easy version, featuring lemon jello pudding mix and chicken stock, sugar cookies made with bacon grease and pounded raisins, and the rather ominous liver casserole surprise. My family is made up of rather normal, otherwise well-adjusted people, so I figure this cannot be unique. What are your family horrors on a plate? How many of them involve canned soup and/or pudding mix? When I got married 2 years ago, I was given a family cookbook that was lovingly put together with all the old recipes. My favorite horrifying one include instructions for how to clean and cook a skunk and how to use roadkill. My mother attests that after marrying into the family they fed everyone on roadkill a couple of different times including while pregnant with me, and she almost divorced my dad over it, of various animals. But my favorite is the secret recipe Mexican rolls, which is just velita in a roll, no joke, and is in no way Mexican. Christmas asparagus. Step 1. Put asparagus whole onto a plate, including the butt ends. Don't cut those off, it's wasteful and asparagus is expensive. Step 2. Microwave for 7 to 10 minutes. Step 3. Let it sit for an hour or two while you cook the rest of the meal. Step 4. Squirt some French's mustard on it and microwave for another 5 minutes. Serve. I am gagging from the smell alone. While I am sure this thread is going to be full of canned soup casserole nightmares or 70s processed food hell, I'll share my ex's family recipe for lasagna. I like to cook, and this recipe almost comes off malicious in how it does the wrong thing for every single step. I only made it once because it was the ex's mother's specialty and they insisted. I was not allowed to deviate because I would just make it wrong, yet the recipe to this day is ingrained in my brain. Take a pound of the leanest ground beef you can find and cook it hard and fast. Drain thoroughly on paper towels. The meat should be bone dry. Not a single drop of fat because fat is bad. If it reminds you of kitty litter, you nailed it. Into the cooked drained beef you need to stir in 1 large onion, chopped. Make sure the pieces are slightly larger than you're comfortable with and definitely keep the onion raw. Don't even think about sauteing it. We want the large onion chunks to sort of half steam in the lasagna so it is simultaneously 2 different incorrect textures. Now grab no-cook lasagna noodles and cook them anyways, because otherwise you might accidentally do the right thing at this stage. Lay the noodles in whatever pan you have that's not a pan you would associate with lasagna. I recommend a loaf pan, or if you want to be festive, a bundt pan. Order goes layer of already 2 soft noodles, cooked beef and raw onion mixture, then a few tablespoons of tomato paste. Alternate until you run out of ingredients. Only cut the tomato paste with water if you need to stretch it to get enough for all the layers. Once you get to the top layer, make sure you end with noodles. Now dump an entire bag of pre-shredded mozzarella on top. The whole bag. Bake uncovered until the cheese is almost melted but not fully melted. Make sure you didn't add any salt because you want it to be heart healthy. The recipes I am about to share are not old family recipes, they're actually very new family recipes because they were all invented by my mother, only 1 generation ago. I think that makes it worse. You be the judge. Kidney bean porridge, like oatmeal, congee, but sub-oats, rice for canned kidney beans, because beans are more nutritious and better for you. Canned beans don't absorb water, so they just sink to the bottom. End result is a layer of boiled canned beans, 4 times as much bean-flavored water on top, all partially obscured by floating brown scum. No salt for heart healthiness. Sometimes she also drops in a few pieces of chopped pumpkin into boil together, rind left on for extra fiber. Broccoli dip. Boil broccoli for twice as long as it needs until it starts turning that yellowy hue instead of bright green. Eat straight while dipping into store-bought mayonnaise. No salt for heart healthiness. Pressure cook a beef stew. Take cleanest beef you can find, for health reasons. Do not sear because oil is bad for you. Put into pressure cooker with soy sauce and other seasonings. The seasoning mix is actually fine. Once fully cooked and meat is bone dry, douse with vinegar before serving because vinegar is good for you. Leftover special. Take any possible leftovers, dump it into a pot, add water, add noodles for noodle soup. The method itself is fine, but she absolutely does not discriminate as to what the leftovers are. Curry noodle soup. Quite tasty actually. Roast chicken and green bean noodle soup. Would have been better as proper chicken noodle soup, but okay. Diced hot dogs and coleslaw noodle soup after a barbecue? Fried chicken and scrambled egg noodle soup. Yuck. I legitimately believe my mother just has an extremely insensitive palate. She sometimes wants specific foods for nostalgia but honestly doesn't seem to notice or care about how things taste. The ironic thing is my father once worked as a line cook at a restaurant and is a fantastic cook, but she absolutely does not allow either of us in her kitchen. She regularly admonishes me for only making unhealthy versions of her tried and true recipes. My mom ruined pork chops for me for life. I still don't eat them because of how she made them when I was a kid. Boneless pork chop. Don't season it. Just slather the top with ketchup, put a slice of raw white onion on top of the ketchup, and a slice of lemon on top of the onion. Bake until it's the texture of shoe leather to protect the family from trichinosis. Southern pear salad. On a single lettuce leaf place a chilled canned pear half. In the hollow of the pear place a scoop of mayonnaise or Miracle Whip. Top the mayo with shredded hoop cheese or sharp cheddar. If desired, top cheese with a maraschino cherry. My mum is from Texas and she used to feed us this when we were little. She also used to slice a banana lengthwise, spread with mayo, and sprinkle chopped pecans on top. I've since learned the pear salad recipe is pretty well known, but I cannot for the life of me figure out where the banana monstrosity came from. Mix canned salmon and cream of mushroom soup. Top with Bisquick batter. Enjoy your salmon casserole, watch out for the bones. Boil whole chicken in a mix of water, cream of mushroom soup and hatch green chilies. Shred the chicken in the pot. Lightly fry corn tortillas in oil and layer tortillas, chicken, liquid mix and cheese until casserole pan is full. Bake until mostly solid. Watch out for the bones. I actually love the chicken enchiladas and get stoked when my dad makes them for Christmas. My mom's creamed spinach. Same recipe my grandma uses. My sister's favorite vegetable as a kid. Put 1 frozen brick spinach and 1 brick cream cheese in a small casserole dish. Microwave until hot. Stir. That's it. It's slimy, gross, and doesn't taste like spinach or cream cheese. I refused to eat it, to the point where my mom finally said fine. You can eat plain spinach. And I did. This is never going into any recipe collection I own. Immigrant Asian family equals bastardized Western food. Why should we order pizza? We have pizza at home. Dad's pizza. Mix water, flour, and salt into something dough-like. Pop in the toaster oven until brick-like in consistency. Top with ketchup, mozzarella or Kraft slices, and pineapple. Butter sandwich. Pats of butter, like those foil-wrapped ones that are left over from catering services. Between 2 slices of white bread. Bonus for covering the entire slice. Peanut butter jelly sandwiches, peanut sauce, like the hot pot kind, and strawberry jam, on Taiwan toast. Mayo sandwiches, mayo on sliced bread, dusted with granulated sugar. Mayo salmon, spread tilde 1/4 inch of mayo on salmon, bake until kind of dry, no lemon, herbs, or other seasonings. Spaghetti, stir-fried pork slivers with ginger and scallions plus ketchup plus spaghetti noodles plus sliced cheese. Steak, sliced chuck or round to 1/4 inch thickness, cover in black pepper, and cook in crowded pan until well done. Now I do the cooking whenever we visit my parents, unless they're making Chinese food. They've gotten better over the years, but I will never be able to fully convince them that they can't just substitute out real, fresh ingredients for condiments, and that things are not always interchangeable. This one is simple. My siblings and I called it bricko fish. Take a box of frozen perch fillets. They must be frozen in the shape of a slender brick. Run hot water over it, and peel off the thin cardboard, leaving a block of frozen perch fillets in the shape of the box. Extra points if you leave some of the cardboard on the fish. Put it on a plate, then place in a 1970 microwave, and microwave for 5 minutes on high. Voila! Bricko fish. Salt is optional, but recommended. Hot dog soup. 2-3 of the cheapest hot dogs you can buy, thinly sliced up into a chunky but very watery potato broth, with salt and pepper the only seasoning. Chili. Cook 2 to 3 pounds ground beef in 1 to 2 tablespoons of bacon grease to give it flavor. Leave it in huge chunks about the size of quarters unsalted. Add in 1 can of tomato soup, 1 small can of tomato paste, and 4-5 cans of water to get every particle of soup out of the can. Add 1 teaspoon or so of mild, expired Kroger's chili powder from 1985 to make it super duper spicy. Then add 2 cans of undrained kidney beans and serve. Get angry because each child adds 1 sleeve of saltines and approx 1 cup of cheese to each bowl to make it edible. It's not a formal recipe, but I can give an approximation for my maternal grandmother's company salmon sandwiches. Make white bread in your bread maker, it will come out as a cylinder. Remove crust and slice into rounds. Meanwhile, open a can of salmon, drain, and mix with softened cream cheese. Spread salmon mixture on bread rounds and press together to make a sandwich loaf. Put in freezer until company arrives. Thaw until the loaf is sliceable, but still somewhat frozen in the middle. Serve. Every possible sweet potato abomination known to man has graced my Mill's Thanksgiving table. One year she took canned yams, mashed, wrapped it around a jumbo marshmallow, like a Scotch egg, rolled the ball in crushed corn flakes, then served it on top of a canned pineapple ring. Those were served warm so the marshmallow was slightly gooey. She was pissed when no one took one from the buffet line, so she proceeded to go around with her casserole dish and pass them out. "You got one even if you said, 'No thank you.'" She said it was an old, family favorite, so favored, in fact, that no one remembered it. Another year she made cups out of oranges and served a sweet potato mash in those. Imagine cutting an orange in half horizontally and scooping out the delicious orange segments to use the peel as a vessel to serve sweet potatoes. The sweet potatoes were topped with a maple syrup, raisin and pecan compote. So bizarre. There's also a congealed salad that gets served at Christmas that's cranberries, pecans, celery, gelatin and mayonnaise. I'm gagging just thinking about it. This is my husband's family recipe, sausage sauerkraut casserole. Take 1 roll of Jimmy Dean's spicy breakfast sausage and brown. Cook 1 package of egg noodles. Drain noodles. Mix together cooked sausage, noodles, and sauerkraut. Bake at 350 until done. I one time tried to suggest making a better version. We could use bratwurst, spätzle, and good sauerkraut. My husband was horrified that I would suggest that. I make it once every couple months for him when he's had a shitty day at work, but I find something else to eat. This isn't my family, it's my co-workers. We have had, pre-COVID, department-wide potlucks. The first one I attended after I started, everyone kept hyping up the cream cheese corn. Telling me I had to try it, telling me they argue each time about whose turn it is to cook it. Cream cheese corn is the most prized delicacy at our potlucks. So when the day of the potluck comes, I stop by the lady whose turn it was to make it to check it out. She has a crock pot on her desk. I ask for a demonstration. She dumps 2 bricks of off-brand cream cheese and a can of corn, water and all, into the crock pot and cranks it to high. That's it. She lets it cook on high for 4 hours until it's time to eat, only stirring it right before serving. It was separated and watery, and tasted like cream cheese with corn in it. That's it. That's cream cheese corn. Lasagna. In case anyone wants the recipe, all you have to do is make a normal lasagna, except instead of bolognese sauce, use a tin of baked beans. Instead of bechamel, ricotta, use a tin of mushroom soup. Do not season. Layer it up. Nope. My mother is no longer allowed to make lasagna on our house. Not my family, but from the joy of cooking, which was Mom's kitchen Bible, broth on the rocks. For the guest who shuns an alcoholic drink, offer a clear broth such as chicken broth or bouillon combined with tomato and orange juice poured over ice cubes. Be sure the broth is not too rich in gelatin, or it may suddenly congeal. My family has so many family recipes that are really at the intersection of no cooking skills and very poor. Grandma's zucchini omelette. Chop one entire zucchini into little pieces. Place in piping hot skillet with 1 jumbo-size egg. Mix up until most of the egg looks pretty solid, which takes about 45 seconds. Top with slices of American cheese. Salt is okay but never pepper. It's both watery and dry at the same time somehow. Dad's famous spaghetti and meat squares. Dump a 28 ounces jar of crushed tomatoes into saucepan. Add an entire pack of chopped up hot dogs, make sure they are the cheapest brand available. Heat up, but remember never to let the hot dogs get completely warm. If you're feeling fancy, add a couple tablespoons of Italian dressing for flavor. Otherwise just add a metric ton of salt and pepper. Spoon too much over al dente, barely softened, spaghetti and top with American cheese slices. Microwave for 15 seconds to melt the cheese. Serve with plain white bread. Mom's chana masala soup that she swears is an authentic recipe from her Indian friend at work. Dump 2 cans of chickpeas into saucepan. Remember not to drain the cans first, you paid for that liquid. Add half a raw onion, diced. Add a lot of yellow curry powder. However much you think you need, add double. If it's still not yellow enough, add some yellow food coloring. Boil but make sure the onions never quite get cooked. Serve over Uncle Ben's instant white rice made in the microwave. Make sure the rice is either al dente or way too soggy. There is no in between. Brothers fire roasted blackened chicken. Heat up the gas grill as hot as it can go for an hour before cooking. Takes boneless skinless chicken breast and dunk it in corn oil. Place on grill and close top quickly. Wait 30 seconds and open the grill to make sure the oil is on fire. Continue cooking until fire goes out, about 25 minutes. Chicken will be chewy at this point with a black crust. Serve with Italian dressing. And they all wonder why I insist on being the cook if we have a family gathering.